Arnold Schwarzenegger is more than a legend. He's proof that greatness can be built from pain, discipline, and an unbreakable vision. Born into hardship in post-war Austria, Arnold's childhood was marked by cold floors, strict discipline from his father, and feeling invisible compared to his favorite older brother. Praise and affection were rare, which planted in him a fierce hunger to prove himself. With no gym and no support in his small village, Arnold improvised, lifting scrap metal in a cold cellar, turning sweat and isolation into silent rebellion. Magazine cutouts of bodybuilders became his inspiration. They were strong and, to Arnold, free. Building muscle wasn't just about looking powerful. It was survival, a way to escape smallness and invisibility. As a teenager, he biked for hours to train in a tiny gym in Graz, each journey pushing him further from the life he didn't want, toward the dream he would chase relentlessly. His friends saw obsession, Arnold saw freedom. Outlasting poverty and doubt, he forged discipline and vision that would soon propel him beyond the borders of Thal. In 1968, at age 21, Arnold landed in America with barely any money and a suitcase of dreams. The accent and poverty made every step a challenge. He took on grueling work at construction sites by day, trained alone at night in dim gyms, saving every dollar to keep his goal alive. At times, in tiny shared rooms, he wondered if he'd made a mistake. Bodybuilding, then, was a niche pursuit in America, not yet celebrated or lucrative. Still, he pressed on, determined to carve out a future through effort and resilience, a champion forged long before the cameras and fame ever found him. Outside of a small bodybuilding circle, most saw Arnold as just another over-muscled foreigner with an impossible dream. To change their minds, he had to win and keep winning. At 23, he became the youngest Mr. Olympia ever, and each victory was survival. His place in America depended on it. But every title brought lonely nights, physical pain, and a heavier burden. Torn muscles, aching joints, and isolation haunted him. Yet he pressed on, trading pain for a shot at greatness. His unshakable vision and willingness to endure transformed the outsider into a legend. By the early 1970s, Arnold was the face of bodybuilding, racking up 6 Mr. Olympia titles by 1975 and a 7th in 1980. Still, each triumph brought constant pressure to maintain an almost superhuman body and the fear that one slip would mean losing everything. Hollywood eventually noticed. In 1982, Conan the Barbarian launched him as a movie star, but rejection persisted. His accent and name were called too foreign. Roles remained scarce until 1984's The Terminator made his accent iconic. Fame followed, but so did isolation. Long shoots far from home, personal missteps, and intense scrutiny made every stumble louder. Success built Arnold a throne and made him a target. The spotlight revealed flaws as easily as it showcased victories. But he kept moving, retiring from bodybuilding, risking all on acting, and later politics. Each leap drew criticism and risked his carefully built image, but he embraced the challenge, knowing stagnation was its own defeat. From the outside, Arnold's life was glory: Olympia crowns, blockbuster movies, the governorship. But behind it, the climb remained solitary. Empire built on iron discipline, will, and the relentless pursuit to remain unbreakable. By age 50, Arnold's fortress cracked. Alone under fluorescent lights, he faced heart surgery. No longer the invincible Terminator, but a vulnerable man. He kept his condition secret, not out of pride, but fear and a wish to spare his aging mother. Sadly, she passed before he could say goodbye, a loss that still haunts him. Through the 2000s, Arnold pressed on, silently carrying scars beneath the surface, showing strength to the world while privately grappling with heart troubles. In 2018, a routine procedure suddenly became emergency open-heart surgery. Lying in a hospital bed, he wondered how his children would remember him and feared leaving them with the pain of unresolved goodbyes. Another surgery came in 2020. By now, there was no bargaining, just acceptance. In 2024, at age 76, further heart problems required a pacemaker. For someone famed for physical strength, needing a machine to survive felt like defeat. He shared the experience on his podcast to raise awareness, masking the fatigue and quiet surrender in his voice. Beneath applause and tailored suits, Arnold now measured every day against the mechanical ticking inside his chest. Each morning, his first act is to feel the pacemaker that keeps him alive, a reminder that he's not the unbreakable icon, just a man with scars, seen and unseen, moving forward even as silence and vulnerability follow close behind. Yet the deepest pain didn't come from surgery or a faltering heart. It was the slow, silent fading of a loved one's mind, witnessing someone slip away inside their own body. The world saw Arnold as a titan, but his private battles reveal the true cost of strength. Arnold Schwarzenegger faced a profound heartbreak when he realized the father he loved was slipping away. In the early 2000s, Sergeant Shriver, American diplomat, Peace Corps co-founder, and Arnold's moral guide, began showing the first signs of dementia. At first it was small, forgotten names, repeated stories, but Arnold's chest tightened with fear, having witnessed a similar decline in an uncle. As the years passed, the man who once inspired nations became a ghost in his own life. One afternoon, Arnold leaned in for a familiar smile, only to be met with vacant eyes and the heartbreaking question, "Who are you?" In that moment, the man who had taught him dignity and public service was gone, not dead but lost. Arnold later admitted that this pain cut deeper than any surgery or public failure because it forced him to confront his own fear of losing himself. Watching his father's memory fade wasn't just a personal agony. It was a cruel mirror, reminding him that neither strength nor wealth can safeguard against such loss. It haunted Arnold in quiet moments between speeches and film takes when the world wasn't watching. Though publicly he spoke about hope and awareness, privately he became disciplined, researching, changing his diet, and doing mental exercises, not to live longer, but to remember longer. As the disease claimed more of Sergeant Shriver, Arnold's outlook shifted. Time was no longer a mountain to conquer, but a force to negotiate with. His workouts focused on longevity, and his speeches became about legacy, each word carefully chosen. When his father died in 2011, Arnold delivered the eulogy not as an icon, but as a grieving son. Sitting alone afterward, he whispered a promise, a prayer that when his time came, he would be remembered before forgotten. Having endured the silent grief of watching a loved one fade, Arnold was unprepared for the storm he would bring upon himself. This storm was no accident. For years, Arnold hid a secret. He had fathered a child, Joseph, with Mildred Baina, the family's longtime housekeeper and trusted member of their household. Born in 1997, Joseph arrived just weeks after Arnold's wife, Maria Shriver, had given birth to their son Christopher. Two boys raised under the same roof, one in the light, one hidden in shadows. Joseph's resemblance to Arnold became harder to ignore. Maria noticed but trusted in love and loyalty, unaware of the hidden war within their home. The family had endured countless battles, bodybuilding, Hollywood glare, political storms, but this was a war Maria didn't know existed. The truth surfaced in 2011 when Maria confronted Mildred. Arnold confessed without excuses, unveiling a betrayal he could never undo. For Maria, it wasn't just infidelity, it was a profound fracture of trust, humiliation, and the shattering of the life she had fiercely defended. She quietly left their home, and soon the press exploded. Headlines screamed, strangers judged, but beneath the noise was true devastation. 4 children blindsided, and Joseph thrust unwillingly into the glare of public scrutiny. Arnold, stripped of control, acknowledged Joseph, offered support, and tried to build a relationship. Yet the years of silence had left wounds. Maria's rare public statement was one of dignified pain. "This is heartbreaking, but it is part of life." For Arnold, the shame was suffocating. This was no scandal. It was the moment he ceased to be the man his wife leaned on, the father his children fully trusted. He had built an empire on discipline and control, but this mistake revealed a deeper truth, that even he could destroy what he prized most. The fallout was spiritual, shaking his sense of self. Years later, Arnold admitted, "There's no one else to blame. I caused this. I hurt the person I love most, and I'll carry that shame for the rest of my life." Behind the muscles, films, and accolades stood a man haunted by the pain he caused, knowing that some mistakes leave marks no redemption can erase. Arnold Schwarzenegger chose silence over spectacle in the face of his 2011 family crisis. He didn't plead for public forgiveness or twist the truth. He accepted responsibility quietly, bearing the weight alone. When the scandal broke, Arnold stepped away from the spotlight, knowing some wounds can't be healed with words. In private moments, he confessed his deep shame, acknowledging it as a lifelong burden. Maria Shriver, his wife through decades of triumph and trial, responded with grace and dignity, prioritizing healing over public drama. Their children were shielded to process their pain in their own time, while Arnold remained quietly present behind the scenes, building relationships and rebuilding trust brick by brick. He embraced Joseph, his son with longtime housekeeper Mildred Baina, not out of obligation but shared humanity, bonding over shared discipline and perseverance. Arnold stayed committed to his other children, showing up consistently at birthdays, graduations, and family dinners. Understanding rebuilding trust is a lifelong journey, not a single act. Professionally, Arnold returned to film, but without the hunger for fame that once consumed him. His focus shifted to meaningful causes, championing climate change, supporting veterans, promoting health, and investing in youth education. He funded after-school programs, built outdoor fitness parks, and contributed to Alzheimer's research, honoring Maria's father's legacy. These acts weren't for cameras but personal growth. Redemption, to Arnold, was about becoming a better man for those he hurt most. Behind closed doors, he often reflected silently on old family photos, a reminder of a happier time and the cost of his mistakes. Since 2011, Arnold has never remarried, his companions always in the background. Some believe it's loyalty, others penance, a recognition of what he lost. There's no grand finale to this chapter, just a man in his 70s standing by his children, mentoring youth, and carrying scars that won't fade. Scars that have taught him more about strength than fame or fortune ever could. Now at 78, Arnold lives quieter days, still marked by iron will, but softened by scars and the wisdom of time. His Los Angeles Brentwood estate, a sprawling Mediterranean villa with panoramic views and luxurious amenities, is a sanctuary where he cherishes privacy and family. The garage and hangar boast vintage military tanks, classic and electric SUVs, luxury sports cars, and his Gulfstream jet, symbols of a life hard-earned and fiercely protected. The rhythm of his heart is steady thanks to a 2024 pacemaker, but each beat recalls past surgeries. The 1997 valve replacement, emergency 2018 open heart surgery, and 2020 operation. Some mornings post-surgery felt like unearned miracles. His training is now precise and cautious. Plant-based meals replace protein shakes, and daily meditation anchors him. Through fitness videos aimed at men his age, he shows that discipline transcends muscle, proving strength can endure even as time ages the body. Arnold's partner for over a decade is Heather Milligan, a physical therapist offering steady, quiet support without the glare of the red carpet. His children have grown into their own lives but remain close. Catherine brings her children by for visits. Patrick balances acting and business. Christina pursues her own path away from publicity. Christopher lives grounded. Joseph, once hidden in shadows, now warmly embraced within the family circle. His net worth, estimated at $1.2 billion in 2025, reflects decades of disciplined ambition. From bricklaying after the 1971 earthquake and early fitness ventures, to real estate, Planet Hollywood, production companies, publishing, and co-founding a supplement brand with LeBron James, which he sold in 2020. Arnold's story is far from over, rooted in resilience and reinvention, guided by lessons learned from both his triumphs and his deepest regrets. Arnold Schwarzenegger now selects screen roles for their meaning, not money. He dedicates time and resources to public fitness parks, after-school programs, veteran support, environmental advocacy, and Alzheimer's research, a tribute to Sergeant Shriver, whose decline profoundly influences his path. Though he reveals no public will, those close to him say his affairs are meticulously organized, another way he shows up for family. Age has engraved lines on his face and slowed his stride, but his handshake remains firm, and his eyes still sparkle with the drive that once carried a young Austrian across an ocean. Arnold has learned that true strength lies not in power, but in steady resilience, in graduations, sidelines, quiet dinners, and morning rides where each moment is a promise kept. If his mansion is a fortress and his machines battalions, the lesson of his late 70s is clear. Redemption is quiet, legacy is unfolding, and every small step matters, especially when the clock inside your chest reminds you why you move forward. His story is more than muscles, movies, or medals. It is the odyssey of a boy from Thal who dreamed beyond mountains, who journeyed from cold gyms and broken English to sunlit Los Angeles mornings filled with grandchildren's laughter. It is the wisdom earned from victories, losses, and scars, visible and hidden, that the greatest strength is the will to keep showing up. We celebrate Arnold not for flawless triumph, but for his courage to change, to trade crowds' roar for the dawn's quiet bicycle, iron plates for a child's gentle hand. His reinvention is survival, the bravest act of all. Now nearing 80, with a heart opened and mended more than once, Arnold reminds us that life's greatest victories are found not in applause, but in unseen moments, in forgiveness given, discipline maintained, and the choice to keep moving when stillness beckons. If his journey speaks to you, let it linger. Share the part of his story that stays with you, not just to honor him, but to spark strength in someone else. True strength isn't in how hard you strike, but in how deeply you care and how steadfastly you endure. We aren't born legends, but like Arnold, we can build ourselves into one, choice by choice, day by day.